Hey everybody, welcome to our barn building video series. In this video series, we're going to take you step by step through the entire construction process, offering detailed insights and tips along the way. So whether you're considering a barn kit for yourself or just curious about the process, this series will give you everything you need to know. Hey everybody, welcome to the barn build, and in this episode I want to talk a little bit about the Country Carpenter's plan. So this is the barn we're building, and it comes as a kit. It's a full set of plans, and so I think one of the biggest selling points of Country Carpenters, they're in Connecticut, they build the entire barn as a kit, and what they do is they break their plans down into sections, and it's all color coded. For example, these are cross braces, and you know, this happens to be green, this one's yellow, and they all are relative to certain parts of the building, like red, yellow, green, blue, or something like that. And it's broken down. In fact, I can show you, it's on page 3 here. It's broken down into colors. So this side of the building is mostly blue. Over here on the left framing, we've got the green and the yellow, and you just follow the diagram with the colors. So, hey everybody, I'm here with Josiah from Country Carpenters. They're a barn building company in Connecticut. And today, we're building a barn right here behind me from my buddy Jeff, and it's a timber frame barn. And Josiah, hey, thanks for
absolutely
helping us out. Tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do.
Yeah, so Country Carpenters, we've been in business now for over 50 years, third generation business, and what we do is we specialize in post and beam barn buildings. We also do sheds, carriage houses.
Small to large.
Yes, yep, the full spectrum, and you know, we offer them in a kit format so that people can purchase them, makes it easy to build, and go from there.
So when he says kit format, everything is kind of color coded. They've got blue, black, yellow, red, double red circles, and you just kind of connect the dots, you follow the plan. But you guys also offer a service. You'll come like you did today and help us kind of get the frame up,
yeah,
and then we can finish it. But you also will just turnkey it as well. You'll finish it for a client.
Absolutely.
As much or as little as the client desires.
Yeah, absolutely. So our business is, you know, worldwide. We've had some clients overseas. Mostly we focus in New England, but we go nationwide. We've delivered to over 42 states. But within a radius of our office, we will offer full build services, as
Nice.
you mentioned. And then a little bit further out from that, throughout most of New England, we're going to also offer our what we call a 2 men for 1 day service, where we come out and we help out on that first day with our boom truck,
Trying to get it started.
erect the frame.
Yeah,
Yep.
having a 60-foot boom or 30-foot boom is very
Yes.
helpful.
Yep.
The wood's gorgeous. And where do you guys source this wood? And
Yeah,
do you
so
bring it to your shop and mill it and all that stuff?
Yeah, so it's Eastern White Pine, and most of it we're getting right from New England. So we have suppliers in Rhode Island and Vermont, you know, but most of it's right in New England is where we get it from. Bring it to our shop. They mill it off site for us, but they're just giving us that raw lumber. We bring it to our site. We cut it down to the specs per plan, you know, what you ordered essentially, color code it all, ship it out to site, and then it's ready to go and get built.
All in-house.
Yes.
And then you package it like you did today and you deliver it. It's amazing.
Exactly, right from our facility
That's
in Connecticut.
really great. Well, I'm really excited to visit your facility. We're doing a series of videos. So we're going to show and document the barn build from the frame to the finishing to the installation to all that stuff. And we're also going to visit your shop and kind of see how they build it. I think we're going to watch the cupola being built and talk a little bit about the craftsmanship and stuff like that. So I'm really excited and we're looking forward to it. So stay tuned. We've got several videos coming out following Jeff's barn build. I just want to be clear though, you know, a lot of folks say that these are DIY barns. This particular barn is not a DIY barn. I think Country Carpenters are they start with small outbuildings and sheds, and they work their way up to big 1.5-story, 2-story buildings and barns. I think the sheds, 100%, smaller buildings, 100% DIY. A building this size, you have to be really skilled DIY, and you're gonna need a team of guys to help you that are skilled, and you need tools, and you need a lull. So in this particular situation, you would wanna hire Country Carpenters to help you erect the building. And that's what we did. They came with us on day one, and they erected the building. For example, if we're going to walk over to here and we're going to show this front end of the building, this gable end, this 6x8 beam all the way across and down was put together on the ground, and then we drilled holes, we squared it, drilled holes, put in pegs. Okay. All right. So strap goes through, bends around. Right about there, I'd say. And then we raised it with the crane. They had a 40 or 60 foot crane, I think it was 40, and they raised it and we were able to brace it in place and then move on. And we did 1, 2, 3, 4. And we got 4 of these main sections up, and then we would start to tie them in. So tying them in is done with these horizontal and vertical cross sections in these braces. If we walk over here, you can see once the main frame was up, we started tying them in with these horizontals, and then we started putting in these braces. Everything is color coded. Now I want to show you something. The color coding is designed to be on the outside of the building. Now why would we want to do that? Well, we want the inside of the building to look really nice and timber framed and pretty wood. So we made a mistake here. In fact, this was my mistake. I put this one in backwards. The green dot should be on the outside of the building because the siding will cover it. So I nailed it. It's got 6-inch nails, these big pole barn nails. So what do we do now? So we can rip it out and put a new one in and spin the color around, or we can use like what we call a cheese grater, which is a scraper, or a wire wheel brush on a drill, and just kind of sand it or wire wheel it off. So that's what we're going to do. We've got 2 places that we have to do that, and if it doesn't work well, then we'll rip it out and replace it and spin it around. But that's the whole point. So if I took you on the outside of this wall, you would see all the color-coded dots. So Country Carpenters puts this kit together and it's all color-coded. And so that's the main point I wanted to show you. Hey guys, we're back here in the shop, and I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of a deeper dive, a little bit more information with Jeff here. So Jeff, tell us a little bit more about the timber frame barn kit, the delivery, logistics, and maybe communication, basically lessons learned day one.
So it was a long process, several months. I think it was about 6 months from the time we engaged with the barn kit company to when it finally showed up. A lot of excitement for when it finally shows up on site for that barn raising. Prior to that, we had done a lot of work. We can get into that at some other stages, but when the kit shows up, a lot of this is it's all Eastern white pine. It's like brand new wood. It's like perfect, like perfectly
clean,
cut.
yeah,
It's great. But it all comes up on a truck, and they got to put it on the ground ASAP. And I was
2 trucks.
Yeah, it was 2 trucks for us, especially because we had an insulation kit, so we have a second set of sidings. I thought I was prepared for it. I had some tarps laying around. I had some dunnage, some staging areas. I was not prepared.
Yeah, we were overwhelmed by the amount of wood that actually showed up. I guess I don't know what I was thinking. I in my mind I didn't think it was going to be that.
Yeah, it's a lot. There was maybe 5 packs of wood, and some of them were stacked on top of each other. And what I have found moving through the various stages of the build was how they were packed on top of each other might not have necessarily gelled with our
sequence,
our goals. We wanted to get the roof on ASAP.
Yep.
And the flooring for the second floor was on top of what we needed to do for the trim boards for the roof. So we had to move stuff around. So we had to get a Moffett in to move stuff around.
That Moffett we got from our local lumberyard. It was huge. It probably saved a full day of moving lumber. I will talk about, as a carpenter, a remodeling contractor guy, I do additions. I will often, and the lumberyards know this, but I will often remind them, please deliver, the sill plates I need on top of the pile. Then I want my walls, and then I want my sheathing, and then the next pallet should be my decking, and and then maybe walls, and then rafters and stuff like that. So you definitely our sequence was off from what Country Carpenter was the name of the kit that built this. Our sequence was off from their sequence, and I'm guaranteeing you that they figured we would do it differently.
I think they recommend putting the loft decking on first because it gives you something to build from. It's safety, if that's especially what you're doing and you're picking away at it. But if you are picking away at it, a lot of this is rough sawn. In my kit, anyways, was rough sawn white pine. It damages easily. It weathers very quickly, and when it gets dirty, it's a real pain in the butt to try and clean. I mean, it's not something because if you sand it, you don't retain that rough sawn look. So it's really something to go out of your way, get the real estate, the dunnage, everything up off the ground with tarps, and with watertight tarps, because it might be a month or 2 before you get to some of that.
We ran around. Rain was coming that next day. We ran around scrambling to get more tarps. We had 5 different huge 16-foot long pallets of wood. That's how much wood we had. I will say this: our sequence, in our minds, we wanted frame and plywood. We chose to do plywood for our roof, and we wanted to roof it, and there was a few reasons for that. One, we wanted to get our slab in because we were doing some insulation. 2, we wanted to protect the wood, those beams, because they're beautiful beams. You don't want them rain stained or nail stained and stuff like that. And then 3, we were in a heat wave, and the path in the roof over us gave us huge shade. So anyway, that was our expectations. My advice is just to make sure you communicate whatever sequence you want to do with the Country Carpenters or the barn kit company that you're going to deal with, because then they'll pack it the way you want.
Yeah, and if you're able to stagger it, all the better. If you're close enough to
I would have preferred 2 or 3 drops instead of one huge drop. But let's move on a little bit to the color coding and the value. Did you find the color coding accurate? Was it useful? And then obviously having the Country Carpenter team on site with their knowledge and experience, recommended, not recommended, easy, not easy?
Absolutely. It was, I think we were excited. I've been excited to do this project as much as myself as possible, with you, your team, and so forth. But the value that they brought in day one to get the main bents, which is the main posts and beams, mortise and tenon,
everything,
timber frame joinery together, to get it up, to get it moving, because when that wood shows up and you have a set of plans with a bunch of color code dots on it, it's a little overwhelming to try and find out, what do I need first? Where do I need to go?
It's a giant erector set.
So they were able to help us kind of get going. From then on, once you have the main bents up, and then you have the wood unpacked, and you can actually look at it's like Lego blocks. You gotta, I recommend putting it all out on the table beforehand and figure out what you got. It's the same sort of process. But no, it's accurate. It's cut well. It fit well. As long as you were putting in the
mortise and tenon slid right in. Oh, it was so clean how well and how nicely they did fit together. Even heavy timbers.
Right, and Country Carpenters, their big appeal is it's all hand cut. It's very traditional, not even machining, but hand joining. And what actually showed up and the way it joined together, I've been extremely impressed with. I mean, you have a story of being 12 feet up in the air.
Yeah, I had a, was it like an 8x8 beam? It had to be several hundreds of pounds. It was the crane, the boom was carrying it and had it strapped, and I was trying to fit it. And I eventually got it in. I had to wrestle with it just a little bit, but it slid. Once I had it lined up and positioned, it slid in. We also did what were those joists?
The 4x7.
4x7s.
Four joists.
Those slid in like magic. Just, whoop. It was amazing, and we just fastened.
And that's not something you want to be messing around with when
no,
you're up top.
They're probably 80 pounds each. Those, just the
right.
joists.
Anybody who's trying to play around with wood joinery in the shop, and you're trying to make a dovetail or something like that, especially as a beginner, you going back and forth, you're making adjustments. That's not something you want to be doing, up high, 12 feet up in the air with a couple hundred pounds.
The other thing too, Jeff, is they show up with a boom truck or a boom or a crane, mini crane, whatever it is, 40-foot boom. 100% essential. It would be 10 times harder to do that project, and you would need more manpower and rigging and all kinds of crazy stuff to lift. Because what we did is we put these 8x8 structures, H-shaped outside and inside, 4 of them, beams together on the ground, and lifted them up. And that's the main structure of the barn. That had to be well over 1,000 pounds altogether. I don't know, maybe it was 1,000 pounds, but the boom lifted it easily, and we just fastened and braced it. Highly recommend that if you're buying a barn kit, and the option is there, pay for the team with their training and their experience. They've forgotten more about barns than we know, to come help you get it at least set up, and then pay for the crane or the boom. I will say, my team's a pretty experienced carpentry team, but this is not nominal lumber, and this is not normal construction methods. It's not Western framing. This is timber framing. We're not in our wheelhouse. So yes, we know how to use tools and fastening, and we know how to set up rigging and staging, but we were learning, along with Jeff. So having that crew was valuable, very valuable.
Yeah, you mentioned fastening. In a lot of these timber frame kits and barns, you're buying it for the look, the exposed beams and so forth. What you don't want to see is a whole bunch of screws and nails and everything, face nailed and face framed, and you don't want to see brackets. That's not the look you're going for. So this Country Carpenter, they came up with guidelines on how to nail things, but it's atypical. It's from above, from the outside. You have kind of sort of free liberty to do everything from the outside, because you put sheeting on the outside and it's all hidden. But just sort of that different style puts anybody who's a seasoned carpenter. I mean, you had some guys that were coming in ready to go, and it's like, oh,
don't nail there.
Yeah. Don't nail it. And they're like, why not?
It's not intuitive.
Educate everybody on the side.
I was ready to put a nail in. I was standing on the inside of the barn. I was going to nail it because that's what made the most sense, and it was the best place, even ergonomically to nail the nail. But they want you to do it from underneath or from behind, and so lessons learned. We learned a lot. But bottom line is, we would have screwed it up if those guys weren't there. So it was valuable to have them there. Once you start doing all these supports, you can start building up on the second floor. I probably got ahead of myself. Before you put in these 45 supports, you've got to square the building and make sure you've got straight lines down the side. Then you can put in your supports, and then we go up, and we can start building up from the second floor deck up. So for example, today we're going to finish doing our horizontal and our vertical 45 supports, and then we're going to jump up on the second floor deck, and we're going to start to work on our rafters and our ridge beam. And then we'll fill in our gable ends and do the dormer. So that'll be the next step process of the barn. So while we're on the topic of the plans and the structure, I do want to note, and what's really clever for these guys is that they're selling a timber frame barn, and it's really authentic looking. It's got the tenons and mortise and tenons and the pegs, but what they're doing is they're building it to code. So they've designed it. It's been stamped by engineers. So what we'll do is we'll end up using mending plates and brackets and clips and rafter straps and these massive brackets, but they'll all go up and outside the building. So when they're all on, they'll all be hidden from view. So when you're inside the barn looking around, you just see a timber frame barn. But it's been stamped, by a structural engineer, and it's been brought to code with a lot of metal fasteners and nailing and very specific nailing patterns and fastener sizes. So really clever design, really nice detail, great quality. So far, we're very impressed with what we're seeing.